Actually, we're kind of live right now, so
Oh, whoops.
don't want the first word to be an expletive.
The second word.
Or third, perhaps.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm starting that process of doing like off-season report cards.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really liked the lead up to it. It was like the prep for it was fun.
I bet. No, I mean, I could see that. Like, and it feels like you're actually putting together some actual content.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, our main source of content really isn't here right now, so
Right.
we got to do what we can.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus fuck. All right, we're good now.
We're live.
What's up, YouTube? This isn't a kids show. We've been doing this long enough.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
true.
kids.
That's true.
I'll edit it out.
That's hilarious. Sorry, Brandon. I could have texted
Hot
you.
mic moment.
Hot mic.
Yeah.
Whoa, that mother. Which quarterback was that? Yeah, which quarterback was that? Was that
Which one?
the one that like got ran? It was. I think he was a Bears quarterback. He got like ran out of bounds, and like a defensive lineman was chasing after him, kind of dove after him out of bounds and
That's Blaine
whiffed.
Gabbert.
Oh yeah. Whoa there, motherfucker.
Whoa there, motherfucker. Brian Cushing was the guy. That's justified. I mean, Royd.
Yeah.
The Royd
That
Yeah.
man was.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's valid. All right. Real quick, before we get started, shout out to our local sponsors. Not really. I don't have a beer of the week this week, so we're going with sparkling water of the week.
My blur.
Shout out to man, get the sprizzy. I'm going with Lidl sparkling water, grapefruit flavored, with other natural flavors. Lord knows what that means.
Impressive.
All right, icebreaker time. Ow! Seeing as how we are in the middle of the lead up to Sweet 16, figured it would be good to real quick talk through the rankings of the major postseasons of North American sports.
CFP at 1 is
So-
bold.
Well, okay, this is not in order. This is just the order that I came up with. We are. My vision is that we rank them. So yeah, CFP, March Madness, NFL playoffs, NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, MLB postseason, and then I figured we would combine NCAA baseball and softball because they are the same thing, just
Fair.
male and female. So yeah, CFP we can go and agree does not belong at 1.
Yeah.
I think March Madness has a claim to be at 1. Honestly, I would probably put the NFL over CFP because they reseed, and I think that is a huge feather in their cap. I think that the NFL, not the NFL, the NBA and the NHL playoffs are very comparable. I think at that point it just becomes which sport do you prefer. And then yeah, I mean MLB postseason is kind of its own thing, and then NCAA baseball and softball kind of also have their own format that would probably be the most comparable to March Madness.
Yeah.
So
Hold on, our video quality's kind of shite.
yeah,
Let me see. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
interesting.
Is there any way I can edit those details?
Bye, Brandon.
He gone.
Your picture's a lot clearer now. I don't know what you just did.
All right. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. We got the lighting. We got the right camera.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hands off. So
Okay.
it'd be good.
Cool. Good deal.
I think we're still live. I don't know what my studio is.
No, we are still live.
Back to the conversation at hand. This is poor streaming. Um, Give me. I think I gotta go March Madness. Like it comes
March
around once a
Madness.
year. It dominates a random Thursday, Friday in March. There's nothing like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue against that.
I also think the time of year that it's in plays in its favor. Like there's nothing else going on in
It's the
March.
only thing. Sure. Okay.
It
I mean, yeah.
captivates that whole period of time, and I like being able to, I'm working on a Thursday. I'm watching basketball at noon. It's,
Yeah.
it's nice. It's a different pace to it.
Ain't nothing.
I enjoy it.
It is funny, but I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here. I feel like something that's good about March Madness is also something that's bad about the MLB playoffs.
Yeah,
So games are in the middle of the day, All right.
during the fall,
So-
there's so much in the fall.
Exactly. So, okay, March Madness at 1. I think next you've got to throw in one of the best of 7 series playoffs. My humble opinion. Like I said earlier, I do think it just comes down to which sport you prefer between the NBA and the NHL. Obviously, I would lean towards the NHL. You guys would probably lean more towards the NBA.
I think the NBA used to be so much better. The play-in tournament really has kind of killed it for me.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of the plan. I don't really see the allure. It doesn't really add that much more meaningful basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless you're a fan of one of the teams that's constantly in it.
Sure.
Like it'd be different if it were like an NFL like play-in tournament type thing where like it's so hard to win a 7-game series in basketball. Like more often than not, the better team is going to win. So like why are we giving these bubble playoff teams a chance to, get bounced in 5 games?
Right.
In the first round?
Right.
I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. So, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. I mean, who would y'all put it to? Because I just assumed that is my video bugging on y'all's end too?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, a little bit.
Love that.
We lost him.
No, I will. Hold on now.
We got the audio.
We got audio, so that's good. All right, whatever.
You're
Alternate
good.
angle.
Screen back.
Yep.
Oh yeah, alternate angle.
You should hear this too.
Sky cam.
Got the all 22. That's right. Okay, so we got March Madness at 1. So I just assumed we were going either in NBA or NHL at 2, but I may have been mistaken. What are y'all's thoughts?
I was going to go NFL at 2, honestly.
The NFL playoffs are electric. I don't know if I could put them at 2, but
I just thought about the blowouts in this year's playoffs. So.
Yeah, and the one thing that the NFL has over the rest of these playoffs is that's not the one thing. Sorry, the one thing that the NFL has over March Madness and the CFP is reseeding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This is a casual take here. Does the NBA reseed?
No.
No. Okay. Neither does the NHL. So is the NFL the only major sport that reseeds?
I think so.
I think.
Well, because I think
the lowest remaining seed goes to
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Well, because I think so. The NCAA baseball and softball, they have regionals and then they have super regionals. So yeah, I guess if there's a major upset in one of the regionals, that could determine like a different team hosts the super regional. So I guess hypothetically they do a reseeding there if an upset takes place. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I like the regional, super regional, and then Omaha format. Just it's a lot of games. I will say that.
Yeah, it's good though. I mean, if you like the sport, for volume wise, I mean it's unique too. You don't really see any other playoff format kind of bounce around like that.
Okay. So, here's my take. I think either the Stanley Cup or NCAA should be a 2. If we're talking pure playoff.
Like, the body of work is not big enough for the 12 team.
Correct. I agree. But this was in my opinion, this was a pretty bad year for college football when it came to parity in the playoffs.
You're getting the
I would agree.
Flowing here. Yeah. Okay, yeah. CFP.
Yeah, I would.
You've won me over.
What at 2?
CFP.
At 2?
I don't know, man.
Who was saying
I thought we
that?
were talking about quarterbacks, dude. I don't.
All right, fair enough. You know what? I'm going to make my own ranking. We can move on.
What? Give us yours.
Okay.
And then
March Madness. Yes, March Madness.
We can go around the horn.
Yeah, March Madness 1, Stanley Cup 2, NCAA 3, NFL 4.
Pause for a minute.
Pause because I'm thinking.
Okay.
CFP at 5, simply just because I love college football. NBA at 6, and then MLB at 7.
Okay.
I enjoy the MLB playoffs, but like we mentioned earlier, it takes place during the peak of college football season. So, sorry. It is a best of 7 series sport, but yeah, the Braves keep getting bounced in the NLCS, so I don't really care.
Yeah, personal preference kind of bleeds into it. I haven't really enjoyed the MLB playoffs in a few years now, so I would probably tend to agree with that.
Okay. Brandon, you wanna round out your rankings, and then I can clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, probably on a similar wavelength, except I just don't have that much experience with hockey in the Stanley Cup. Now, I've heard great things, and I probably need to check it out. But I think it's definitely above some of the. I mean, I'm with you that the MLB isn't very good. NCAA, Georgia's good this year, so I'm paying more attention. Years past, I am a little guilty of neglecting it a bit, but I do think having the regionals, the super regionals in Omaha is pretty unique, and it's a lot of ball volume wise. So I think that's good for the sport. I don't know. It's probably pretty close to Drew's. I think March Madness is one undisputed. Honestly, I don't really think anything holds a candle to that. And then I don't know about CFP in 2. Maybe Stanley Cup 2, just because I think it probably would outbid all the rest of those if I actually bought in. And then personally, CFP probably over NFL.
Okay.
As of right now, we are a college football channel, so I feel kind of obligated to say that. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, like we were saying, the inaugural 12-team playoff, the earlier rounds didn't really pan out how any of the viewers wanted to. And then you kind of had this thing going on where a lot of the teams that got the first round buys came out flat and got beat. Namely Georgia, and you kind of get in the territory of, I know a lot of the conversation in the MLB, especially as a Braves fan, is, that first round bye potentially hurting your team, rest versus rest. Realistically, does a week matter that much? Probably not, but people like to complain. And then what do I have left?
I think the scheduling of CFP really knocks it down a few pegs for me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, probably just because what the NFL has going, and this year wasn't the best, but there's better matchups. You probably put NFL over CFP just because they have it established. I think once they iron out the 12 team, maybe, say 5 years, a decade down the road, it could be pretty polished. Hell, it's probably not even going to be 12 teams that far down the road. Looking at expansion
16,
already.
They're already talking about
Yeah. So I think the question lies in where they stop, where they draw the line. I mean, you can't have, like a March Madness field of 64 for college football. That's not happening. But do you poke your head into the 20s? Who knows? Do you go back down? I mean, this is uncharted territory, really. Yeah. I mean, what if we add more teams and it's more meaningful games? It's like, whoops, we fucked up. Back to 12. So that definitely knocks it down a little bit. Probably closer to NCAA baseball, just because I don't know. I like that format. And then MLB in last for sure, like you said in October. Obviously it's kind of a tradition, an American pastime, but being a fan of both college and NFL football kind of loses points for being right smack dab in the middle of the regular season.
Yeah.
But it's more fun when your team makes it, I will say. And the Braves have been stinking it up a little bit. So
they've made it.
I think that
they
impacts.
just have shit to bed every
time.
They've made it. Get there, but I mean, it seems to be a common theme amongst some of our teams is you can make it there, but once you do.
Yeah, I think you've convinced
anyway.
me. I'm kind of in the same boat. CFP, maybe a couple years down the line they figure out the format. Okay, I think I think honestly we're all kind of in the same boat here. Our boy JJ Richmond,
I think
disagrees.
Yeah,
I'm sure this is casual takes. I mean, look, this is very subjective.
Yeah.
To your favorite sport, obviously. I mean, I enjoy NBA. I do. I'm a Hawks fan.
Yeah.
I gotta watch them fumble around and fuck it up in the play-in games.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun when they made the ECF run. Yeah. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun, I will say. Should have. Trey doesn't turn his ankle, they make the finals, but that's another
story for another
conversation
day.
For another day.
I'm sure it's a lot more fun if you're a Laker fan.
But yes, JJ said that NBA is one, which is a wild take, but it's since he is a Lakers fan, probably.
He's living his truth, man.
That's his truth. I mean, I've seen a lot of debate like on Twitter about people kind of shitting on college basketball because of I guess the skill gap between that and it being professional. And I mean, I guess I get it to an extent. Maybe they're not as efficient from the field, but I think it makes for entertaining basketball. It's not like a snooze fest. It's not like everybody's just bricking every shot.
Yeah.
Although this year there has been a bit of a lack of those any kind of Cinderella run or major upset, and I'm a bit jaded as a Georgia fan. But we'll keep watching.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the clip from Oppenheimer where it's like, it can't, but it is. It's paradoxical, but it works. They were talking about like college basketball is better than NBA basketball, but because the players are worse, it's like the players are worse, which makes it better basketball. It's paradoxical, but it works. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't mean for this to take like the first 15 minutes of the stream. So
honestly, I think it's good. The technical issues kind of bridge the gap. Now we're ready to actually talk some college football. So I appreciate you having that. Yeah, a little warm up activity for us, a little icebreaker.
Yes,
that's what I'm here for, man.
All right, we can get back into the tier list game. It'd be fun. We're gonna start delving, I think, into draft content. It's like what, a month away, ish. Just about.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
We're all set from a production standpoint. We have it all.
Okay, you have it up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
No, are you driving like the screen?
I'm driving the screen, but if one of y'all wants to take the wheel, feel free.
I can run point.
There you go.
Since I made it, I would not have any issue doing that.
Create.
And I'm editing it, so might be easier that way.
Sounds good.
Get the ads out of the way. That'd be great. All right, I'm just gonna intro it for editing purposes, and then we'll just get into it and have a little conversation about some quarterbacks here. So, anyways, welcome back to Three and Out. Today we are getting into NFL draft content. The off season is finally ramping up a little bit. We're not searching far and wide for anything to talk about. It's coming to our doorstep again, which is always nice to have. So we're going to talk quarterbacks now. Obviously you can go to any NFL mock draft podcast content that you want for any in-depth analysis. This might be a little more based off vibes, but we've watched a lot of college football and have seen a lot of big games, including a lot of these players. But it's only the top 8, I think it is, guys that are going in the draft. This year's draft class in terms of quarterbacks is definitely an interesting one. There's some teams up there looking to find a franchise quarterback, maybe somebody who's even generational. We'll get into it and see if we think any of these guys are generational. But these teams surely are hoping that they are. Fellas, how are we doing? I know it's been a little bit of a break on the channel, but we're back grinding the off-season content. Should be a good time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Draft right around the corner already. Crazy.
It is.
But yeah, I'm excited to declare every single one of these guys a bust.
The only category we'll be using tonight.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's our hot take of the evening. So
the rest are just for show. Yeah,
Mhm.
been good. It was kind of nice having last week off, and now that we're here at the end of March, we can actually start talking about football again instead of just playing it. So
yeah, there's no news. There's nothing going on. But now there has been a little bit more buzz leading up to the draft, and I'm going to use this to segue into our first player on the list. We're going to go left to right, which is Cam Ward. I think I saw something earlier about the Titans hosting him for a private workout. It seems like that's kind of picking up steam in terms of who might be the first quarterback off the board. Obviously, if you pay attention to college football or any of the draft boards, you would know that him and Shador, I believe, are the main two prospects, players, if you will, that were being looked at with that number one pick, to my knowledge. So, kind of an interesting class. I might say mid. I said it a little earlier. It's interesting. We'll start with Cam Ward, though. Obviously, came onto the scene transferring to Miami this year from Washington State, right?
Yep.
Had a breakout year at Washington State. Came to Miami, almost made it to the playoffs, but still had a really solid year. Miami didn't really have much of a defense. He was a big driving force behind a lot of their wins this past season. Very nonchalant in the pocket, very calm, cool, and collected quarterback. And obviously one of the better players in college football at the position. Made a trip to New York this past year. Now, I think for Mr. Ward, the floor for me is probably solid starter. I think I made the tier list. Full transparency. I had some other guys in mind when I created the overrated category. I wouldn't say he's overrated. However, I don't know if I would go as far as to say he's a generational talent. I think, with the position where he's drafted, and I think we talked about this a little bit last year in terms of not just the talent that the quarterback has, but the position that they're put in, kind of thrown into the fire. Doesn't work out for a lot of guys, even if you have a lot of talent. I think that could definitely play into um, kind of what we're looking at for this. So I lean maybe more of a franchise guy. Obviously, they're hoping to draft a franchise quarterback. But what do y'all think?
Yeah.
yeah.
You want it?
Who wants it?
All right. I'm just gonna say the one thing that I know that when we had these conversations this time last year, a big thing that came up in the quarterback area was age, and I just looked into it. Cam Ward is 22; he'll turn 23 in May. So, you can get most likely a lot of years out of this guy. Even though I feel like he's been in college football for a while. But yeah, it's not like he's Michael Penix, where you at least feel like he's already 30 and having two bum knees coming in. So I don't know. Sorry about that, but hurt me too. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with Brandon. I don't really have much more to add than that. Hopefully, I didn't steal any of Noah's thunder, considering that was a very small point to make. But
no, I agree wholeheartedly. I think he's one of those guys. I don't know. To me, he's the best quarterback in this class, and honestly, by a wide margin. We'll talk more about why as we move down the list. But he flashed in pretty much every game and he played. Like he is the opportunity to be a very special player. but as we have seen over the years, it also really depends on the right situation. I have no idea if Tennessee's the right situation for him, but we're going to find out. If it's Tennessee, if it's Cleveland, if it's who is the third, it's not going to be the Giants. The Giants just signed 2 quarterbacks, so who knows what the Giants are doing. But yeah, I think I like solid starter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least solid starter.
Yeah.
I think the thing that might be holding me back from franchise quarterback is I feel like the Titans have been in such a weird spot. I mean, they've drafted, I feel like 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the last half decade that have come through there. I mean, Will Levis, Malik Willis, obviously you had Ryan Tannehill in there. I don't really know if the Titans are in a great spot. And they're, obviously he's going to be put in a position where it's kind of like, what we saw with Will Levis, I think you just get thrown out there. And I mean, I need to do a little brushing up on the Titans roster, but I'm not 100% sure who he's surrounded by that would help him as a rookie trying to will this team to some wins. I feel like they're kind of in,
Don't forget Falcons
purgatory.
legend Marcus Mariota.
Yes, Marcus Mariota as well. I mean, they've just had band-aids at the position, rentals.
Yeah.
Their last big guy was Tannehill. I mean, I know he was there for a while when they had some success and, made the playoffs with him, and not to forget Derrick Henry, who also played a very big role in that. Kind of helps to have a man of that size at running back. So, I think he has upside potential of franchise quarterback with the Titans. I wouldn't go as far as to say generational. It's just weird because looking at this whole list, I would agree with what Noah said, that I personally think that out of all the quarterbacks that we have on here, he's probably the best talent, and in terms of being NFL ready is up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not sure. Solid starter or franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I think given where he's probably going to land, I think solid starter would be the best spot for him because, like you said, I mean, they had kind of a franchise guy in Tannehill, but like I don't know if anyone would really call Ryan Tannehill a franchise quarterback. Marcus Mariota started there for 3 years, and then before that it was Mettenberger, Fitzpatrick, Jake Locker, Matt Hasselbeck, Vince Young. Vince Young was the guy for a while, but still didn't really have like too much success. And then Steve McNair.
They haven't really been able to hold a guy down. I just don't know how rookie friendly this team is. This franchise is for a quarterback right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, obviously there's the 2 different trains of thought of either throwing them in right away and trying to get your instant production, or you pull like a Michael Penix / Jordan Love, you let him sit a little bit, even though Penix played in his first year, but still.
He'll be the guy, and he'll be the guy for a while. So I think solid starter is a good spot for him.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. We'll roll with that. I have to pull up a mock for some of these guys. I need to see where they're projected to go.
Yeah.
Because looking at Dylan Gabriel, I honestly don't know where people think he's going to end up at. I mean, how old is he? I know we were looking up ages. He's got to be like 24 or 25.
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, he played in.
Real quick.
Okay. Dylan Gabriel was born December 28th, 2000. So he's like a year and a half older than I almost said Penix, than Ward. So
yeah, he's 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not terrible. I just think it's because he bounced from so many colleges. It seems like he was there forever. UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon.
I mean, he is electric, right? Like we've seen it. I mean, he took
He's a playmaker.
Let's be honest. He took a lesser Oklahoma team and beat Quinn Ewers and Texas in the Red River rivalry. So let's see. Hold on. Let me see. But yeah, I mean, Dylan Gabriel, 8. Sorry, I was looking at the mock draft.
Yeah, honestly, that would be a good thing to have up. I just don't know where he's even being mocked. I mean, are you able to see that like 4th round, 3rd round? I don't even have a beat on that. I should have done my homework, guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay. None of us did our homework. That's what we're here for. Ah,
We're here for the
well,
vibes.
that's right. He is, according to this mock, he is not even going to sniff the first round. So,
I didn't think so.
yeah. I mean, I think Dylan Gabriel could be one of the diamonds in the rough in like day 2, potentially even day 3. Like you said, I just haven't really heard any buzz about him.
Mm.
I mean, the only thing I've heard is that, yeah, well, I hadn't even heard. I'm just looking at the news section under Dylan Gabriel's name. Apparently, the Panthers were flirting with making a move.
Really? So
Yeah,
drafted as a backup,
yeah, the
essentially.
49ers, the Cowboys, but like,
I mean, the thing is, it's kind of weird. This class is, I mean, in my opinion, pretty weak, at
mhm,
least compared to years past. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, looking at the rest of this list, I like Dylan Gabriel over quite a few of these guys
mhm,
um, that are still remaining on here.
yeah,
Obviously, the age is a bit more of a concern in the
yeah,
injury history,
yeah,
but in terms of the flashes that he showed in college, I mean, he wasn't a bum, you know. And especially, I know Oregon didn't pan out in the postseason, but especially the run that Oregon had this past year, uh,
yeah,
and that offense that he led. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but they were slinging it. So
yeah. So, according to this, according to Bleacher Report, he is a projected 4th rounder, being the 9th quarterback, and his best comp has been a more athletic version of Tua with slightly less arm talent.
wow, that's very complimentary. That's
Uh,
tough.
yeah.
I'm thinking about okay, I might have to live edit because I think that we might need a backup. If we could
Okay.
switch overrated to backup
Okay.
potentially, because if
Sure.
they're overrated, we used to call them a bust. So I think, I mean, in terms of where he's being,
Is there a way I can
I don't know,
edit
man.
this? Hold on.
I don't think he's
Ooh.
overrated. I think he's properly rated.
No,
I think
yeah, I think
he's
he's
like you said,
properly
kind of
rated.
more of like a project. He's the kind of guy that you
There we go.
draft and bench, and then he gets his chance
Yeah.
a few years down the road. I think.
Yes.
So maybe a
Very much
backup
so.
here.
Change the row. It's back up now. You want to go there?
Very nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
He can.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I think of for him. I mean, I just don't really see a spot where he's. And I mean, this is the media outlook. I think that's probably important context. Um, immediately, depending on where they're drafted, what it looks like.
Mhm.
Because I think down the road he could be a solid starter, depending on where he lands at.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to be drafted in a spot where he's going to see the field like that,
Yeah. I mean,
at least for the
three
first couple of years.
3 years from now, we could be having a completely different conversation.
Mhm.
Sure.
It's just in 3 years he'll also be 28. So
That's tough.
that is tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think backup. Yeah, properly rated. Now, if he was flirting with going even in the 2nd round, I think it'd be a little overrated. But I like backup. Backup's good.
Yeah, I like that. No notes.
All right. No notes.
Yeah.
Very nice. Moving on to Jalen Milrow. I've seen a lot of
What?
people suggest that. Yeah, is that not the order that it's in on your?
Oh no, it is. Sorry, I was just gonna say let a naysayer know.
Huh?
What?
I actually didn't hear you. Sorry, I'm kind
Oh,
of
oh,
deaf right
oh,
now.
oh, oh. Let a naysayer know.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
indeed, indeed.
Indeed.
Oh, anyways, interesting. I don't even know. My first question is, where is he being mocked? Because I've seen some people suggest that he should change his position entirely.
Yes.
But
He great quality today, boys. Great quality.
First day back, we'll iron out the wrinkles.
The sad thing is, we were only off for a week.
You wouldn't be able to tell?
No. I hope
All right, well, I
Morgan
guess we
doesn't
can
say
keep rambling
anything.
about.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Hope she
keep
doesn't say
talking so we
Yeah.
drown
Jalen
him out. I
Milrow,
don't want to.
born
Yeah,
December
Jalen
13th,
Milrow.
2002, 6'2", weighing in at 217 pounds. I mean, very athletic, obviously. When he wants to, has a cannon for an arm.
Mhm.
Let's go back to Bleacher Report real quick. He is let's see. He is probably the most physically gifted quarterback in the class. One of the most explosive athletes at any position in college football. Let's see. Pro comp is shades of Jalen Hurts with a jetpack and a stronger arm. He is being projected in the high
That's
third
funny.
round and high
Really?
third as the 5th quarterback overall,
Oh,
according to
Okay,
Bleacher
that
Report.
makes me feel like overrated. To be perfectly honest with you. Look, I know he's probably athletically speaking the most gifted, but he's also a project in terms of development. I mean, he started out the season red hot, and
Yeah.
then down the line, I mean, it's just I think it brings up issues, and I know people probably do like film breakdowns and studies, and he could probably explain it to you a little bit better. I just don't think he's at an NFL level when it comes to processing and making his reads and the decision making. If he had that, then I mean, I think he's the most gifted quarterback on this entire list.
Yeah.
Especially what he can do on the ground. I mean,
Mhm.
have a guy like that where you can take off and break one at any given moment, and there's no question about it. He can pretty much outrun anybody else on the defense. He's unaccounted for in that sense. I mean, I can't tell you how frustrating watching that first half of the Georgia game this past year as a Georgia fan before the defense adjusted in the second half. I mean, he had anything he wanted all day, and I know that Georgia defense was young, but it's also very talented. So, in the right scheme, I think he could be very successful.
Yes.
However, I don't know if he's going to land in a spot like that in the NFL. I think he needs to obviously develop as a quarterback in terms of processing and decision making. But obviously, very talented.
I don't understand why Bleacher Report didn't just call him the young, like the best comp would be like Lamar, like an uncoached, like an well, that's the word I'm looking for, an ungroomed Lamar Jackson with a
I
slightly
like that
stronger
better
arm.
than flashes of Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is a bigger guy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he's not as big as Jalen Hurts.
A lot of
I mean,
Milrow's
he's not.
throws have been like short intermediate. Like the deep
Yeah.
ball, nobody's doubting his deep ball. His deep ball is beautiful, but
Yeah.
it's that short to
Yeah,
intermediate game. But Jalen Hurts' short to intermediate. It's really good. I don't think I like that.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts' deep ball has been, point of contention and for a lot of people, I think. So, I mean, I know it did say he had a better arm in that comp and with a jetpack strapped on him. So, maybe in that sense. But yeah, I mean, if he landed in a spot like Philly where you have a generational talent at running back and a stout offensive line, and you could just run like, short intermediate and kind of get that better and have guys open underneath, I mean, I'm sure he would have a lot of success. I mean, Philadelphia's done a great job kind of molding their offense to Jalen Hurts, and obviously it's paid off. They played the kind of game they want to play with Saquon. Jalen has come a long way. I just don't know if that's the thing with a lot of these guys. I don't know if they're going to get to a spot where a team will trust them long enough to do that for them. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
I think he's got the physical gifts to stick around as a backup. That's where like I don't think he's not going to bust out of the league in 3 years. Is my thinking about it. He will be a backup somewhere. That's what I think.
Yeah,
because
just
he's
literally
just too talented to not be on a roster.
You could literally just bring him in like short yardage situations and let him run the read option at the very least.
Yeah.
because I mean
Yeah.
he does have a jetpack strapped to his back.
Mhm.
That's a fact. And his play action ball is beautiful because you have to respect the run, especially with his legs. So if a safety creeps or get caught looking in the backfield, his deep ball is beautiful.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I think it just depends on the spot, man. I mean, it's tough to project, but
yeah,
I think he could definitely excel if he's put in a good position too. But I
Yeah.
think I would agree with Noah. A guy like that who's so gifted, somebody's going to see potential in him.
and he's
Something
young.
will. He'll be on a roster, I think.
Yep.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that he will stick around somewhere, even if he's a backup. So I like him. I like him in backup.
Yep.
Good deal. Who's next? I can't quite see.
Mr. Dart.
Who we got? Jackson Dart. Yeah,
Jackson.
he's an interesting one. I'm trying to look and see where he's being projected. I think this first mock draft I have has him in the first, which is Giants trade back to 26 and take Jackson Dart in the first round. In that case, we don't have an overrated category anymore, but I would say bust.
Yeah.
I don't know when this was made. Obviously, as of half an hour ago, the Giants signed Russell Wilson, so probably going to impact this mock draft. I don't know why the Giants would sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and then draft a quarterback in the first round. So probably not that, but he's being mocked in the first round, regardless of that. So I don't know if I personally agree with that. I'm not super high on Jackson Dart myself. I don't know about how y'all feel about that. I mean, he had flashes at Ole Miss. I just don't think it was ever anything that was crazy to me. And one of his final might have been his final. I don't know if he opted out of the bowl game, but that Florida game where he threw a pick, cried about it, got the ball back, and then threw another pick.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know, man.
Tough.
He's always been just not my favorite guy in this class. That's for sure. I don't know how y'all feel if I'm being a hater or what, but
he did play in the bowl game. Because I think his agent said something along the lines of, if you don't play in this bowl game, the last thing people are going to remember about you was the fact that you cried on the Florida sidelines. And he proceeded and threw another duck. So, I don't know. I think
it was the same guy too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I think they were in the exact same coverage. The best thing about Jackson Dart that I can see off the rip, he is a little bit heavier than everyone we've talked about so far. He weighs 223 pounds. And he's a full year younger than everybody we've talked about. He's born in May of 2003. So.
Oh, yeah, he's a young guy. That does play in his favor. I mean.
It does.
Yeah. I just don't think he's a first-round guy.
Yeah, well, Bleacher Report's putting him at like a high to mid 2. And then
I need to check another mock draft. DPS.
Putting him at QB4, and his comp is Carson Wentz, which I don't.
Like Carson Wentz is bigger than that.
Carson Wentz, I feel like Carson Wentz is bigger than that, but I can double check.
He was like a 6'4", 6'5" kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
240.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 240. Shut up. Bleacher Report doesn't know their comps. All right. No disrespect.
I mean, I get it, maybe like play style, but Jackson Dart's not that fucking big.
No. I think, given the offense, I think if Jackson Dart went and played for Denver tomorrow, I think him and Sean Payton would probably get something going. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I think Jackson Dart, considering what we've seen lately, and it's hard to get the crying on the Florida sidelines out of my mind. It's really tough. But this is also the Jackson Dart that beat UGA, right?
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, he's had his moments. He's not the worst guy on this list.
No.
I don't think.
When
I mean,
he's
for me at
playing
least.
well, he's playing very well. When he's playing poorly and his confidence gets rocked at all, it's a problem.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. I mean, I think the guy that comes to mind when I think about him, at least more recently, is Zach Wilson. And I mean, I feel like they're kind of similar, although I don't think Dart will be drafted in a position to start as soon as Zach Wilson did, and kind of get his growth stunted.
Mhm.
I don't even know where Zach Wilson is anymore, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I don't think. I mean, the problem with this class is I'm looking at a lot of these guys, and I think the backup category might get a little crowded because at least immediately, I feel like a lot of this quarterback draft class is, mid to late rounds. And like, how
Yeah.
can you say a guy that gets drafted in the third round is going to be a franchise quarterback?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, you could call your shot. We might with some more of these guys who get drafted later, but I mean, I just don't know how you do it. At least with a guy like Jackson Dart.
We had him at bust, right?
Um
I'm in and out. There's
no. You're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in bust at the moment. And I think the ceiling for him, at least in the short term, is backup.
Yeah.
My main issue with Jackson was the confidence piece. Like when he's confident, he's arguably a top 3 quarterback in the in college football. But the moment his confidence gets rocked, it just takes himself out of it mentally. Um, so the good thing for Jackson is that he's not a top 5 pick. So he will probably end up at a better franchise. So hopefully he'll actually have time to develop as a backup. But
if he gets thrown into a situation, it would be ugly quick.
Correct. So
Yeah.
using that as the logic, I think if he started tomorrow, I think he'd be a bust.
I would agree. I mean, I think it could be interesting to revisit this once the draft has happened, right?
Mhm.
Because if I would tell you right now, if he got drafted in the first round, he's a bust, personally. Now, if a team were, because I mean, just looking at that, if a team were to reach on him like that, then yeah. But if he's taken in like the what mid to late second round, I don't. I mean, I think that's probably right around where he belongs. He's not in that upper tier of quarterbacks who are being looked at in the top 10, which is truly really only 2 of these guys, which is a little unique for a quarterback draft class. Looking at this year as opposed to other years, a little less quarterback heavy.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm comfortable with bust or backup because I think either is a very viable option.
Yep.
So I don't know where we landed with on that, but if we want to throw somebody into the bust category, I wouldn't hate it for it.
Yeah.
Bust works.
Bust works for me.
We'll be borderline. He's a borderline bust. How about that?
Yeah, he'll be the best quarterback in the bust category at the moment.
Yes, indeed. If we're gonna layer it like that. If we're gonna split hairs, we'll see if any of these other guys end up down there with him, and it constitutes that. But we'll keep on moving to Mr. Quinn Ewers. I'll be honest, another guy I'm not super high on personally. I wasn't impressed by Quinn this past year, honestly. I mean, looking at his junior season and the run they made in the playoffs, I think he had a better year in his junior year. I'm not saying he's bad. It's not what I'm saying.
What I'm
However, I mean, all I'm saying is if I'm a Texas fan, I'm glad March is up. I'm excited about it. Quinn, looking at the guys we talked about up until this point, except for maybe Dylan Gabriel, I don't know how well he gets around these days, is the least mobile guy that we've talked about by far. Situationally, could probably get out of the pocket and make something happen. Wouldn't make a living on. Wouldn't want to make a living on. And when it comes to the quarterbacks in the NFL now, I feel like, I mean, for the most part, if you don't have a great pocket presence, you got to be able to extend plays. somehow. I don't know. I'm still trying to talk this out and see where I want to put him. Drew or anybody else, I don't know if we know where he's being mocked at. Like I said, this is all kind of subject to where they get drafted at. So we're kind of speculating that at this point. But
So
I don't know. I mean, nothing really sticks out to me about his game over some of these other guys.
He's not on this mock, obviously, because he's not going to be taken in the first round projected.
Mhm.
However, he had a good pro day. He completed 54 out of 59 passes, and his deep ball definitely was on display. And apparently, the Colts seem to be the most interested. Yeah,
They have quite the quarterback battle, right? Daniel Jones and
yeah,
Anthony Richardson.
yeah. So they're saying best possible if the Colts are the team to take him. Best possible for Ewers would be at 45 overall. But the most realistic landing spots are probably they're saying here the Jets and the Steelers, who are at 73 and 84 overall in the third round.
Mhm.
So I mean, we'll see, but yeah, it'll be interesting because, like you said, okay. I would also like to say real quick, born March 03, so the second youngest quarterback we've talked about.
Mhm.
That's definitely a feather in his cap, but lack of mobility, but seems to make progressions a little bit better than some other guys.
I would agree
I think,
wholeheartedly. He's a
yeah,
better processor than some of these guys. So that if you can get the ball out quick, you don't need to be super
yeah.
mobile. But if you can get the ball out quick,
Like, I think, like, I don't know. I'm just getting like way down the road, he becomes like a mentally a mentally acute guy who's just able to read defenses and can hang around for 15 years, and become like a
I got a comp for you.
thank you, please.
Colt McCoy.
A Colt McCoy that does or does not do well at the next level.
Oh, I mean like career backup Colt McCoy.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Throwing
a
out.
career backup makes a lot of money. Just ask Jake Fromm.
There you go.
His baby just celebrated their first birthday, so shout out to the Froms. But when was the
best
last
job in
time you
America,
saw?
backup quarterback.
Yeah, genuinely. Well, I mean, when was the last time you saw Jake Fromm throw a football? But bet
Long time.
yeah, bet you sweet ass he's still having fun counting those checks when they come in every week.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Nothing wrong with being a career backup in the
Right.
NFL. I mean, it's more than any of us will ever do, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, looking at Quinn, I thought, I mean, look, for me, it just feels like personally looking at him, there's just really nothing that stands out. I mean, even looking at his measurables, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, good pro day that helps.
Mhm.
If you can deliver on the deep ball and the accuracy. Not sure how strong his arm is in terms of these other guys. I mean, he's 6'2", 209, not the biggest guy, but he's obviously still decently sized guy. I don't know. I think he just kind of, for me, gets lost in it a little bit amongst these other guys. That's just me. I don't know what y'all think though about where he belongs. I wouldn't say he's a bust necessarily.
I think
I
he
don't
could
think
be a good
he'll be
career
put in a
backup
spot.
at the very least.
I'm
So
good with that. I think.
yeah,
Not willing to say he's going to be a starter in this league. I'm not willing to say that.
Not yet, no. I would agree with that. 100%.
yep, good deal.
All right, 3 to go. Up next is another interesting quarterback, Riley Leonard. And I know age has been of a big topic here. I'm pretty sure he falls on the wrong end of that, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but I know he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he wasn't born in 03. To be honest with you,
What?
so maybe he was. Maybe I just don't know ball.
02.
02? Okay, so he's not as old as I
02.
thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where he's being mocked. I can't imagine it's that high. I don't think I'd call him a bust. I don't think he's going to be put in a position to be a bust.
I believe he is the largest quarterback we've talked about so far.
I was about to say, brother, that is Taysom Hill.
6'4", 216,
yeah, I like
baby.
That. Yeah, I mean, physically, he's a big guy, and we saw him not be afraid to use his legs throughout the playoffs for Notre Dame.
Correct.
You know, had that first drive, spectacular first drive, and the national championship, and then was gassed for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Put his body on the line, ran off to the sideline, puked, put the oxygen on. So I mean, he's interesting. Like I said, I don't know where he's being mocked, but I think he's kind of a guy like Jalen Milroe, in a sense where, I mean, shit, I know it's probably not what he wants, but I don't think Taysom Hill is the worst thing ever if we're looking at potential alternatives for him down the road. I mean,
still stroking checks.
Yeah, I mean, it's gimmicky, but I mean, it's a change of pace, and it's worked for New Orleans many, many times that I've witnessed firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's very frustrating to be on the receiving end of it, but it's effective. I mean, there's really no way around that. So he's an interesting one to me. Like I said, I don't think he'll be a bust just because of where he's mocked at, but
he screams like if he falls, he just screams late round. Some offensive guru like a LaFleur, Shanahan, McVay, Andy Reid, take a flyer on him. Maybe see what you can do with them on a football field. You know?
Yeah, he's obviously got the 1-2.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got like some of like the leadership capabilities. I think he'd be a real like. I hate to say it, but I think he'd be a really good journeyman. You know, kind of Fitzpatrick-esque, where like he can learn any playbook in like 4 days, and he's just he seems like a really nice guy. So he could be in a locker room for 10 days and already have the offensive lineman blocking for him.
Yeah, he went to Duke. My boy's wicked smart.
Wicked smart. Notre Dame ain't no slouch either. Sure. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I know career journeyman's not on this list, but I think he'd be a great backup, especially after he gets a few years under his belt. I could see in the right scheme. Honestly, if Jalen Hurts got in a car accident tomorrow, Riley Leonard, I think, would jump on the Philadelphia Eagles draft board real quick. Because he's big, he's strong. Yeah. Saying. Big, strong. His short route accuracy is through the roof. Especially across the middle of the field.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at, there's this website called NFL Mock Draft Database, and I'm like, I guess it ranks it in order of like mock drafts that have them the highest. And I'm like, I didn't realize these are in 2024 because it says number 15, and I'm like, are you smoking crack? But that makes sense that that would have been
playoff run
last year.
Yeah,
it was actually in May of 2024 before the season. So,
okay,
on their shot, I guess. But it looks like a lot of the updated ones, I see him hovering around 5th, 6th round. So, I mean, he seems pretty slotted for a backup at least to begin with. I don't think he'll have the chance to, like any guy that starts as a backup and comes in and doesn't perform well. I don't think you can call him bust, really, because the expectation was never there to begin with. Which is an important piece of that, but I think probably backup. That tier is getting crowded. We might have to reseed these tiers for next time because it's crowded. But I mean, I think it definitely proves a point of, kind of our thoughts at least on this quarterback draft class.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we're good with him there.
Yeah, I'm good at backup.
Unless y'all have any contention on that.
Nope. I'm good at backup.
Sweet. All right, moving on to a guy that will not be in the backup tier. I can almost guarantee you, Mr. Shedeur Sanders, the next best quarterback next to Cam Ward in this draft class. You could argue is the best prospect in this draft class. It's been between him and Cam Ward. Tennessee's taking right now. Looks like Tennessee might be leaning Cam Ward. However, there could be an argument to be made that maybe, hey, they're picking the wrong guy. Should go with Shedeur.
Shedeur is
Now I
February
know
02, by the way.
Yeah, so he's kind of probably what, middle of the pack or
Middle
younger
of the pack
side.
when it comes to age. I mean,
Yeah,
Cam
what,
Ward
that makes him
was
23 around.
yeah. I mean, actually, he's a little bit older than Cam Ward by like 2 or 3 months. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'2",
Mhm.
212. Cam Ward's 6'2", 219. So I mean, they're basically same age, same build. Little bit different styles of play though. So
For sure. For sure, different styles of play. I mean, I didn't know they were almost exactly the same height and weight. I feel like Shedeur to me is a little bit more lanky, for lack of a better term. But I don't know their 40s. I don't think they might have ran them at their pro days. I don't think they ran them at the combine.
Combi.
I would think that Shedeur is a little quicker.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, is a more willing runner in terms of extending plays.
Yeah.
Not saying that Cam Ward can't extend plays with his legs, because that's one of the things. You look at his highlight tape. He's a playmaker.
Cam
there's a bit
Cam
of a
is definitely
difference.
like a little more calm in the pocket. Like if he doesn't have to take off, he's not going to, unless like there's a defender actively barreling down on it. And I think he would rather sidestep than roll out.
Yeah,
I will say
I would
though,
agree.
like Shedeur has had plenty of practice with awful offensive lines,
I was gonna say the same thing.
so that might be
I
an
mean,
advantage.
honestly, I know we're laughing. I honestly think that might actually play in his favor. Like if you were to get, I don't know what the fuck the Giants are doing, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because I know, I mean, they were talking about him maybe potentially going to the Giants. Now they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, so who the hell knows? But like you end up with a team who has a top 10 draft pick and no offensive line. Hey, you are
I mean,
prepared for
look at
that kind of thing.
look at Jaden
So,
Daniels. You know, constantly extending plays at LSU, goes to Washington, who hasn't historically had a good offensive line, and all of a sudden they're making the NFC Championship.
Not ridiculous.
So it's not ridiculous. So for that reason, and for a couple of other reasons that I might get into, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think Shedeur is probably going to be a franchise quarterback because he has the pedigree to become one. Like he'll know how to play the media. He'll know how to play the front office. He'll know how to get what he wants. And exactly.
Okay.
Like I understand that that's kind of
I didn't think
ridiculous
about it that way.
based on like style of play and skill. Like he's talented. He's super talented. And his style of play is questionable. However, it worked at Colorado because it had to. Hey, Travis Hunter's open down there somewhere.
True.
However, I do like one thing that one of my old coaches used to tell me is that the NFL is not just a game. The NFL is a business. And I think that there hasn't been a quarterback since Eli Manning that will have been this prepped to become a NFL quarterback from a business perspective.
Damn, I like everything you're saying.
There's a
I like
reason
it.
I'm on this channel.
Yeah, I would feel a bit weird not including somebody in the franchise quarterback category, to be honest, because I threw generational in there. Nobody's generational. That's kind of what I wanted to say about that. I don't think anybody's like, a generational talent. However, I think one of these guys ought to be a franchise quarterback. And that's a really good point that I hadn't thought of, was being able to play into the business side of it, especially with Dion and everything that he's been through in the league and as a coach and all that, having that on your side. I think he probably sticks somewhere for a good while,
Yep.
wherever it is, or hell, force his way out after his rookie deal and then end up somewhere long term. Kind of Dion-esque.
Yeah.
Falcons to the Cowboys.
Yep.
So I think he'll be around. I think there's no question about that. I think there's also no question that it's between him and Cam Ward when it comes to the best guy here. I don't really think there's any question about that.
No.
So where's he?
Where's he
Go ahead.
mocked?
Yeah, because has it been the Giants? I mean, I know that just happened like half hour ago.
I've been hearing Raider.
I think Raider would do well.
6. If he's a Raider, I think he's a franchise guy. Honestly,
Him to Brock Bowers. Yeah, I mean,
Myers. Never know.
Ooh, that would be good.
I mean, if I'm Shador, I'm fine with that. I mean, drop a few spots to land in a better spot. I mean, I think that's objectively a better landing spot than the Titans.
It plays into your theory too. Guess who is a new minority owner of the Raiders? Tom Brady.
Yep.
There you go. He's got all the mentorship he needs.
They're falling into place.
Yep.
Ooh.
It's like, and I could see Shador being able to pull some Eli Manning shit where like, hey, like if he's talking to the Giants at 2, like if you draft me, I'm just not going to play.
Now.
Yeah, like
honestly, I can see it.
Well, I got a lot of ties in Colorado. I think the coach will let me come back, even though I already declared.
Yeah, known him for a lot.
I think one thing.
All of my years, actually.
One wrinkle that could be interesting, looking at it, is do the Giants now having Russell Wilson think about trading back?
If I were the Giants,
later back that wanted Shador that badly.
Yeah, I think. Does Shador even have an agent, or is it just his dad? But that's a side question.
I don't know.
I'm sure with Dion like still actively coaching, I'm sure Shador has an agent, but I think any like big decisions get run by the whole family.
I would imagine.
And like if I'm Shador, right, it's like, listen, the facts are the facts. Your dad's been there before. He knows how to play the game. So yeah, you want to be a big boy and make your own decisions, but I think it'd be very unwise if you don't run things like this by your dad. So yeah, I think it'd be very interesting. I would love to be a fly on the wall whenever Shador, Dion, and the agent are in the room huddled around a phone talking to general managers. It's like, yeah, so you want to go to New York?
I would find it hard to believe that Dion isn't very active in that whole process. And why not? I mean, good guy to have on your side, that's for sure. Has so much experience in the league and around it, and coaching and everything like that. So, I do like putting him in franchise, though. If I'm being honest, I think that's a good conversation starter for the video as well. I think a lot of people might not agree with that. But looking at like what we said earlier, important context, situationally speaking, if he falls a few picks, especially with the Giants doing what they just did, would be put in a better spot to land in a franchise that would be more favorable for his development and getting guys around him, rather than a plug and play in Tennessee where he's just thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
I like him as a franchise. Drew, I mean, you made a great point about the business side of it. I think he'll be around for a while.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if Noah already moved him there.
He's already there. He's already there.
Okay. We can move on to the next and the final quarterback on this list, Mr. Will Howard of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I guess.
Interesting year for him in Ohio State. Obviously, won the national championship. So there's that. Feather in his cap in terms of accolades. I personally think, I mean, he's a good quarterback. I always thought he played better at Kansas State. Not saying that he played bad this past year. He definitely came into his own in the playoffs. The regular season was what it was, but they got their second chance and they punched their ticket and made a run with it. So in terms of him in the NFL, I don't know how high the expectation is personally. To be completely honest, because I don't think he's really up in the higher level conversations about guys going to teams, obviously. Kind of hard to put a pin in where he's going to end up, but he also is, I believe, one of the bigger guys on this list, 6'4".
Yes,
I believe. Not super mobile. I mean, he can run when he needs to, but not willing. He's not really like Riley Leonard. He's not going to put his body on the line.
But you are right. One of the bigger guys, 6'4", 237 pounds. Mobile enough is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Good recognition, decent arm talent, experienced player. A little older. He was born in 2001.
Makes me feel old, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Younger than I am.
Yep. Let's see. He. Come on. Where is the comp? Okay. Potential impact player. High second round.
Wow.
Currently QB3, which is hilarious because the pro comp is Mason Rudolph. Can you tell me what Mason Rudolph did besides get his head beat in?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of decently high projections here.
Insane, dude.
I mean,
it was Mason Rudolph who got beat up by Myles Garrett, right? Okay, just make it
yeah,
sure.
he got his helmet ripped off and used as a weapon against him. There's 4 mock drafts I'm looking at that have been in either January or February of this past year, or this year, 2025. Have all of them have him being picked number 21 overall to the Steelers. So
he would do great as
get a lot of looks in the late first round even.
I don't even know if he would do great as a Steeler. He would just fit into the Steelers quarterback cycle that they've been having lately.
They love
I don't know.
Type, dude.
They really do. They really thought
barely big ass white dude.
They're trying to recreate.
It worked for him once upon a time.
It's true. It worked.
Will Howard's not a bad quarterback. He's mobile enough. He ran the read option at Kansas State.
It's true.
Again, not sprinting down the hash, but getting 4 yards and falling forward. Not as mobile as Riley Leonard, or at least he wasn't in the place to show it because he didn't have to. Notre Dame depended on Riley Leonard's legs. Will Howard was able to hand the ball off to 2 of the best running backs in the country. So
yeah, it's also nice when you can throw a halfback slip screen for a 80-yard touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Helps.
Yep. And even with having 3 rotating guys on the offensive line due to injuries, you still have one of the top 5 rated offensive lines in the country. So Will Howard will not. He would not if he was a lottery pick right now, and just went to a team that didn't have an offensive line, he would not do well as the starter. But I just want to make that very well known. However, I do feel like he can be a high IQ guy that would keep him at the bare minimum, lifelong backup. At the bare minimum. I don't know if he.
I would say
he could.
Riley Leonard.
I was about to say if he's truly going to get taken in the second round. Wait, did you say? I'm sorry. Did you say late first or early second, Brandon?
He said early second.
I see 4 mocks here, and these are a little older. It's in January and February. Take that with a grain of salt. I have him going number 21 overall, so late first round.
That would be bust category then. Yeah.
If you're going to pick 21st overall, you need to have day 1 impact.
You're expected to maybe not start, but impact day 1.
Jordan Love, Michael
All right,
Penix, that's different, but
I feel like it's important context where he's taken, because the further I scroll down, there's some ones that have come out this month in March that have him in round 3, round 4. So if
Then
he's
not
that
a
kind of
bust.
guy, I think he
Yeah.
could be a backup. But I mean, if somebody reaches on him in the first round, say the Steelers take him at number 21, I think he is bust territory.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be fitting for, like y'all said, for kind of what the Steelers, what their MO is. I mean, even
Yeah.
just being like mid. I mean, not to say they're mid. They make the playoffs every year and they never do anything. So they are at a very baseline, consistent level of play.
So
I think he could probably keep them there. I don't know if he could elevate it though.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can y'all just refresh my memory after all the moves and everything? Who is in the Steelers quarterback room right now?
Nobody.
Because it was Russ and Justin Fields.
They were going
and
after Darnold. They didn't get him.
So
Right now,
They were
I'm
talking about Aaron
seeing
Rodgers,
Mason
right?
Rudolph. I think that they were in talks with Aaron Rodgers. Nothing has happened yet. Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson.
So if nothing happens
That's
in the
all I
next
see.
30 days, which I understand that's a long time, but if nothing happens in the next 30 days, I have a hard time seeing Will Howard not being a Steeler.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. And even if they do go out and get a guy like Rodgers, I mean, they could pull the Falcons.
Dude,
You know,
take
draft Howard behind him.
Take the guy who's an athletic specimen. Like, I'd take Milrow at 21 over Will Howard. Like, I'm sorry, I would. At least Milrow has, I don't know, he's got so much upside, dude.
Let's hope this gets to the Ohio State side of YouTube.
See, they tried that with Justin Fields, and then they signed Russell Wilson. Like a bunch of guys were really excited about Fields, and then wait, what? we got the 35-year-old or however old Russ is now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it
if he
looks
gets
like
taken to the first
Pittsburgh's
round,
still in
I'm rocking bus, I think.
pretty heavy talks with Aaron Rodgers. I could even see him. Could you imagine the same thing as Kirk Cousins drafting Howard behind Aaron Rodgers? And you know how Aaron Rodgers feels about getting a guy drafted behind him.
yeah.
So I don't know maybe if they would or wouldn't do that, but
I don't know, man. Once you get to a certain point in your career as Rodgers, like, hey, listen, I probably
glad to be
only have,
around.
yeah, I probably only have 2 years left, realistically, unless he goes on another darkness retreat. Like, why not give something that you've learned to the guy behind you? And it's not like Will Howard. I almost said Will Rogers. Shout out to Mississippi State. It's not like Will Howard is Jordan Love and is actively looking to take your position just because he has the arm talent and the athletic ability. Like, don't get me wrong, Will Howard's not a bad quarterback, but if he gets taken in the first round, he's going to be a bust.
I would agree.
I like that.
I'm fine putting him in the bus category. Hell, I mean, I think looking at it right now, Steelers are probably not have to put their
Man,
eggs
literally
in
just
Aaron
won a national
Rodgers' basket.
championship, but yeah.
Yep. Chew on that.
That was a very talented Ohio State roster. I don't know if there was anybody out there that would argue that Will Howard was the reason they won that national championship.
Valid. Good deal.
Maybe there is. Ohio State fans, let me know. Because it was a great team. I just don't think he was nearly the centerpiece of it.
No.
So.
No. He was probably like the 6th best player on offense.
With that roster, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
With all the weapons they amassed on that team, all the people they paid. They also paid him, but
yeah.
Anyways, that rounds it out. So let me know. I'm going to run it down. Let me know if I get anybody wrong. In franchise quarterback, the highest rated quarterback we have on this list is Shedeur Sanders. That should be an interesting conversation in the comments. Solid starter contains Cam Ward. And then in the backup category is the bulk of our tier list, Dylan Gabriel, in no particular order either. These are not ranked within the tier. Dylan
Mhm.
Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, and Riley Leonard are all in the backup tier, and then in West we have Jackson Dart and Will Howard. Rounded out at the bottom. I like it.
The definitive
Good deal.
list.
The definitive list, that'll be the title and the thumbnail.
The 30-day out definitive list.
Correct.
I like it.
So it'll be interesting to revisit this. Maybe we can do that after the draft. See how our beliefs in this hold up with the new fresh perspective of what NFL franchise they will be joining. But yeah, starting do the NFL draft content. So I think we're going to start mixing these in more for positions we feel fit. Honestly, weird draft. Not going to lie. We can talk about that more, but a weirder one for me, I think. Feels a little bit down. I think more maybe defensive than anything. I'm not sure. I need to look into it more.
Yeah. Depth-wise, very deep
There's
draft, but not a lot of pop near the top of the.
No, not like you said, not like eye-popping. Nothing crazy, but I think there will be definitely some solid guys in that. But yeah, do you fellas have anything else before we put a bow on this list?
I'm good.
And I'll take us home.
I probably need to bounce.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, I can wrap, so we can cut the stream when I wrap the video.
Cool.
Good deal.
All right, well, thank you for watching, whether you're on the stream or you're watching the long form back. We appreciate you being here in the off season, hanging out with us, talking ball. Don't forget, every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, if we have any viewers in other time zones. We're live, air quotes around that, 7:30 to 7:40, call it, but sure. Anyways, live every Tuesday, at least right now, talking ball in the off season, ramping up content for the NFL draft, and really anything y'all want to see. So let us know in the comments if there is anything you want to see during this time. We're wide open to suggestions, want to hear from you, and anything you do want to see, hear, or talk about.